Yeah, please, can everybody come closer? Yeah, just come closer. You can come closer, please. When I get some eyes, I'm ready. Okay. I'll show this at the end. Let me start by saying good morning to each of you. I am super excited to be here on today for what, and there's probably only one person here on today who feels the sentiment I'm about to share, and that's Donna Cooper to my left. I don't know how long it's been since we've seen the group of stakeholders who are present here on today come together, united in our advocacy for the funding of public education. But earlier this week, Council President Johnson and I delivered a letter to Governor Shapiro and the leadership of the General Assembly asking them to fully and fairly fund public schools. We are today joined by school administrators and advocates, and this is the part I think I've been warm and fuzzy all night long thinking about this part. Traditional public schools, as well as charter school leaders and advocates who have put aside whatever differences they may have to stand united together for Philadelphia students. I want to, for the record, to thank all of these groups, including the Philadelphia Charters for Excellence and the African American Charter School Coalition, and all of our advocates standing together on this very important issue. You know, I hear a whole lot of people laughing when they've heard me talk about One Philly, a united city, but here on today, as One Philly, a united city, to urge the Pennsylvania General Assembly to pass a budget this year that fully funds Philadelphia's public schools and permanently closes what we refer to as the adequacy funding gap. In its report in January, the Basic Education Funding Commission, listen to what they determined. They determined that Pennsylvania public schools were underfunded by $5.1 billion, and that Philadelphia's funding gap, and we want every resident of our great city to hear this, our funding gap is $1.4 billion. Yes, that wasn't a mistake. $1.4 billion with a B. That's more than 1/4 of the total amount of that funding. On yesterday, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives took the first step in closing this historic gap. Philadelphia parents and families, they know all too well the impact of chronic historic underfunding to our schools, whether they are traditional district or public charter schools. The groups assembled here today have put aside their differences for the good of our students and the good of our city. We speak with one voice to urge the General Assembly to get the job done and to pass a budget that provides $242 million in new funding this year and make the commitment to fully close the adequacy gap over the next 7 years. I have said this from the beginning, and all of the stakeholders here have heard me say it, and I told Philadelphia that I wouldn't whisper about it. I would not engage in the type of politics, especially when it comes to public education, that traditionally puts what we refer to as traditional public schools versus public charter schools, and work to pit the two against each other. The fact of the matter is that none of our schools have the resources that they need to provide the kind of 21st century quality first-class education that our students in our great city deserve. We have waited too long. We have done our part, and we are now looking to Harrisburg to ensure that our students have the future that they deserve. Now, to the people of the city of Philadelphia who are watching this, who may not have paid attention to the budget success that Council President Johnson, all members of council, I know Education Chairperson Isaiah Thomas is standing here, Council Member Rue Landau, Council Member Squilla. We just did in Philadelphia what no one expected us to do. Aside from the 5-year balanced budget proposal, I offered it in March. We negotiated with council, did the best we could to ensure the safety, the cleanliness, and greening of our city with access to economic opportunity for all, but we also did our fair share as it relates to public education. We increased the percentage of funding for Philadelphia public schools by 1 millage point of 1%, from 55 to 56, and that would give us $129 million in funding throughout our 5-year plan for Philadelphia to add to what we contribute to public schools in our great city. So the message here on today is thank you to our legislative leaders, and I've got to call them out by name. Speaker Joanna McClinton, Appropriations Chairman Jordan Harris, our Senate Appropriations Chairman Vincent Hughes, Morgan Cephas, I know she chairs our Philadelphia delegation in the House, all of the Philadelphia legislators. We don't profess to know what it's like to be at that negotiating table where you are right now, but what we want you to know is that you can go to that table and be proud of the fact that your city stands behind you in this advocacy, and we do so in a way that people are not accustomed to see in Philadelphia, and that is we are standing united in our advocacy. We now want you to hear from Philadelphia Superintendent Dr. Watlington.
Good morning. Madam Mayor, it's a pleasure to stand with you and behind you to advocate that we close this adequacy funding gap. I want to thank you so much and commend you, Mayor, for your leadership in that record investment from the mayor and the school district of Philadelphia and all of our schools. Let's give the mayor another round of applause. We know that inadequate funding has harmed children across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, including in this very fine city, the city of Philadelphia, for a number of years and decades. At every board meeting, we hear from parents and community members about the pressing needs to parse out the limited resources we have to invest in our staff, to invest in our students, in our facilities, to ensure that our kids have those quality seats that the mayor it counts on us to make sure that they have, and to make sure that we not only help to educate them academically, but that we invest in their social and emotional learning and in their mental health and trauma-informed supports. So we're glad the conversation is shifting to how we invest limited resources to how we can think about using more resources to get our children what they absolutely need and deserve. And so, Mayor, with your funding, the extra funding you've provided to the school district, and what we are hopeful that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania will provide, we will be able to drive faster improvement in the school district in areas like moving on not just 20 pilots in the upcoming year for extended year and extended day schools, but we'll be able to grow that over time. We'll be able to relaunch Parent University and provide support to our parents and families so that they can best support their children. We'll be able to invest in social and emotional learning supports and mental health and wellness for our children. We'll be able to hire more teachers and invest in them. Why? Because teachers are the #1 predictor of student academic growth and attainment, and it's no secret that we have a pipeline shortage in this Commonwealth. And certainly we'll be able to continue to invest in our facilities. So in closing, Mayor, I look forward to working very closely with you and your team, Governor Shapiro, and the General Assembly to advocate for what our students need, to make sure that they are taken care of, and that we continue on that road to becoming the fastest improving large urban school district in the country with the high quality seats that you require and demand of us, Mayor. Good morning and thank you.
Miss Wade, Superintendent, you gotta go back and say it out loud so that I can get it. Fastest, say it again.
I'm gonna get it right for the praxis past English teacher here, and Mayor, the fastest improving large urban school district in the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. We are now going to hear from our City Council Education Committee Chair, Chairman Isaiah Thomas. Please give him a round of applause.
How's everybody doing? Figured get a little more energy around education and our children, right? We got great interns here, great young people. How's everybody doing? Good to hear. I want to start by thanking our mayor. And at the end of the day, this is what you get when you have a mayor who's a product of the School District of Philadelphia, who's a former student athlete, who has experience in a state legislator, delivering resources, especially education-related resources to the city of Philadelphia. This is the type of unity, and this is how you see education become a priority. I couldn't be more excited to stand here today with the group of people that I'm standing with to basically beg. That is what we're doing. We care so much about our children that not only have we passed a budget that has a lot of great things in it, but for what I'm most excited about is that increase in education funding from 55 to 56%, with the goal of getting to 58%, right, Mayor?
Yes.
Yep. That to me was the most exciting thing to vote for in this year's budget, because it's not about the revenue only. It's a message. We're talking to teachers and administrators, maintenance staff and climate staff, and we're telling you, you are a priority. You're important to this administration, you're important to this council legislative body, and we're here today not just to ask for the $1.4 billion that the mayor talked about that's needed for operating dollars, but Dr. Watlington and I was talking about his amazing staff and the great work that they're doing as it relates to the facilities issues that they're dealing with. That's another $6 billion, folks. Last I checked, the mayor's proposal for the entire city of Philadelphia was $6.3 billion, Mayor Parker. So now you're telling us, if my math is correct, I used to be a teacher too, we have a bigger deficit as it relates to our schools than the entire city's budget. Wow. That's why we're here right now, because we are reaching out to Harrisburg and we're asking you for help. Yes. We need your help. And we are going to wake up every day and say every child in the city of Philadelphia, no matter what zip code they live in, will have access to a quality education, an equal education, a just education. The only way that's going to happen is if we get support from our partners in government, both in Harrisburg as well as in D.C. So I'm excited to stand here with the mayor. I am so grateful for her leadership, and I appreciate this coalition of people coming together saying education is our priority, our children are first, and we are willing to do whatever it takes to put us in a position to get every dollar we can for our schools. Mayor Parker, thank you for your leadership and your vision. The work continues.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well spoken, sir. Well said. We are now going to hear from Dr. Joel, is it Joel or Joel? Joel. Dr. Joel Boyd, who is the CEO of Mastery Charter Schools. Give Dr. Boyd a round of applause. Thank you, Dr. Boyd.
Thank you, Mayor, and let me echo Councilman Thomas's words by saying how excited we are to be here with you, Mayor, with your leadership, with the council's leadership, because this is a real opportunity and a real exciting time. On behalf of the 11,000 children that Mastery School serves, we are excited to be part of a coalition that recognizes that our children and our families here in Philadelphia come first. I am honored to stand beside this mayor who said, imagine what we can accomplish if we stop fighting each other and start fighting together on behalf of our children. Now, I came home to Philadelphia this year after serving as superintendent of schools in 2 different districts in 2 different states, and coming home here was part of being a part of this opportunity, being a part of this opportunity to put our children first, to not look into the past, but look into the future to see what we can accomplish for our children together. Now, what we know is that a funding gap leads to an opportunity and an access gap, and together, if we can close this gap, we can realize a greater future for our children and ensure that they achieve their dreams into the future. And I am honored to be standing here beside all of my colleagues. And I ask our colleagues in Harrisburg to come together and join us in this effort to allow our children to achieve what we know our children can achieve. Our children deserve as much as any other child. And if we provide our children with the resources they need, we know our children will thrive. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Superintendent. I'm honored here today, and I'm looking forward to a brighter future.
I didn't think I could get any more excited, but it keeps building. This is a super awesome day. Dawn Chavu is here with us. She is the spokesperson for the African American Charter School Coalition. Give it up for Dawn Chavu.
Good morning. So on behalf of the African American Charter School Coalition, which represents roughly 15,000 children and working class families, as well as 20 brick and mortar schools across the city of Philadelphia, I just want to thank Mayor Parker for inviting us to the table and for allowing us to be a part of this coalition. For those of you who don't know, the African American Charter School Coalition was formed to end systemic racism and bias in our public school system and to create more transparency and equitable oversight for renewal and expansion opportunities for Black founded and led schools. Our goal is to ensure all children and families have access to a high quality and safe and culturally rich educational opportunities, no matter what school they go to. We want to thank Mayor Parker for her leadership in doing something that in my lifetime I've not seen before from a mayor. Rather than focusing on the type of school, she's saying, let's embrace children and families and determine what it is that they need, and whether or not they attend a public charter school or a traditional school, it doesn't matter. We need to focus on what's in the best interest of our children. And for that reason, we are standing here beside Mayor Parker and all of our colleagues to say that we need more funding. We need more funding to close this gap that exists in Philadelphia. And this $242 million can not only help traditional public schools, it can also help public charters as well. I would like to thank Speaker McClinton, as well as Chairman Harris for their leadership. And as you can see, we're all working together in Philadelphia. Let us be the example of what we would like Harrisburg to do as well. Let's follow the mayor's leadership in terms of what can happen when we can put differences aside and focus on one goal, and that is children and families. And thank you, Mayor Parker, for your leadership and for inviting charter schools to be a part of this conversation.
Thank you. Wow. Our closer, Dan, you're our closer. Just so you know, Dan, you're the closer today. But only someone who has been at the table on both sides, who's been at the table at the executive branch level, which is when she and I developed a working relationship, and she knows how to fight. But now she's here leading one of the chief education advocacy organizations in our city, and I would argue in our Commonwealth, because we need our educational advocates unified in this effort as well. But I can't have us leave this historic moment on this day and we not hear from Donna Cooper. Give her a round of applause.
So I remember when you were the Philadelphia delegation chair, and there was a day in Harrisburg where school funding was at risk. And it was a weekend, and nobody was around. And State Representative Sherelle Parker did not leave her seat until she got a commitment from the leader, Mike Turzai, that Philadelphia's school district would not be left behind. Would not be left behind. And let me tell you, it was her first year as the Philadelphia delegation chair. And we walked into that room, and State Representative Parker said, how are we going to show them we are unified? And I need you to do this, and I need you to do this. State Representative Parker was a champion for public education as she watched Dwight Evans be the leader and as she took the reins of the Philadelphia delegation. So we in Philadelphia should have confidence in the strategy of forming this coalition that Mayor Parker asked to be formed in February. She challenged us all. We were all in meetings. And she said, are you going to come together? Because what our friends in Harrisburg are looking for is division. That is the way that the injustice of the public education funding system in Pennsylvania is sustained, by division. And so we're here today to say to Senator Kim Ward, Senator Joe Pittman, Senator Scott Martin, they are the leaders, and Senator Argel, who is the Education Committee chair. Our children and your children's fate are inextricably connected. We will be united with you as you fight for your children. And the citizens of their communities are rising up and asking the same questions. Doesn't matter whether you're charter or public, the education adequacy gap in this state is a constitutional injustice, a racial injustice, a class injustice that must end. It is not acceptable. And when you ask the students, Councilperson Thomas talked about his interns here, and we work with students. Oh, they're Parker's interns. Oh, excellent. Good, good. She did that too. You were one of those. So when we ask the students across the state, what do you think about education? Last week we were talking to kids in Upper Bucks County, and they said to us, you know what, really, it harms me when I hear about kids in Bristol, and I hear about kids in Philly, and I hear about kids in Norristown, when I know I have all the supports that I need. That's not the society I want to inherit. And it's not the society that the children in the Senate leadership districts want to inherit either. Our state is better when we're united, when every child has opportunity, and when every lawmaker and every stakeholder is rowing in the same direction for the educational opportunity for our children. Thank you, Mayor Parker. Thank you, Councilman Thomas. We have a lot of work to do, but we know we can work at a unified front with these lawmakers.
Thank you. Another round of applause for Donna Cooper. She hates this, but she's one of the teachers here. Our closer on today is a gentleman who stands on super big shoulders, but he is a strong advocate in and of his own right. You cannot think about the Commonwealth's court decision without paying attention to his work. I'm speaking of Dan Urich-Acklesberg from our Public Interest Law Center. I'm biased when it comes to you, Dan.
Thank you so much, Mayor Parker, and thank you for convening everyone here on such an important issue. As the mayor said, I am an attorney at the Public Interest Law Center, where along with my colleagues at the Education Law Center, we brought and won the school funding litigation that has sort of spurred all of this on. 10 years ago, those school districts, 10 years ago, school districts, communities, and families filed that case with a basic premise: that depriving children of the resources that educators know they need is not only a moral wrong, but it was a constitutional failure. Finally, in 2021 and in 2022, we had our trial. And at trial, we heard from various school leaders, including from leaders in the school district of Philadelphia, who discussed in detail all of the innovative things that they were really proud of about their schools, and about all the things they knew were wrong, but that they couldn't fix them because they didn't have the money. Right? Insufficient numbers of teachers and counselors and tutors and nurses and librarians and support staff. buildings that had lead and asbestos. But what was amazing about that story, that Philadelphia story, was that it was not particularly unique. From Johnstown to Juniata, from Wilkes-Barre to West Philadelphia, what the trial made plain was that this is not a Philadelphia problem. This is a Commonwealth-wide tragedy playing out in classroom after classroom. It was so common and so systemic that in February of 2023, we won. Because the system was failing across Pennsylvania and because the promise of public education was as vibrant as ever so long as we gave schools what they need. Which brings us to yesterday and a plan that starts with answering the most foundational question a school funding system should ask. What do our children need to be successful? And when you look at what districts need across the Commonwealth, the answer is $5 billion in annual school funding, and as the mayor said, $1.4 billion of which will be directed to the school district of Philadelphia. And that plan actually has an end date, as the mayor said, with concrete language to ensure professionals like Dr. Watlington or Dr. Boyd can actually depend on getting this money so that they can start planning on how to make transformative investments for the futures of their children. In practice, what this plan can be is a watershed for the Commonwealth, a before and after moment for the children of the Commonwealth and of our city. Before, mayors, school superintendents, educators knowing what children need and being unable to provide it because we can't afford it. After, teachers and counselors and tutors infused into safe, inviting, modern classrooms. Before, the most unfair school funding system in the nation, which discriminates against children in places like Philadelphia. After, a system that recognizes the value of every child and that gives them the resources they need to live up to their potential. Yesterday was a great day.
Yes, it was.
We now have a plan passed by the House, endorsed by the governor, which more than anything values the future of children in Philadelphia and in Darby and in Lancaster and in Johnstown and everywhere across this Commonwealth. It is time. Donna, who always knows really what to remind the public of, is it was passed with bipartisan support. Children don't have R's or D's next to their names. Right. They have potential. It is time to begin fulfilling it, and it's time for this to become law. Thank you so much for gathering us here. I'm happy to be here.
Let me just state that this has been, first of all, give all of our stakeholders a huge round of applause. Philadelphia, this is the letter that you see us referencing. And you will note that you will see a city, along with Council President Johnson, all members of council, City Council of Philadelphia, PFT, African American Charter School Coalition, Public Interest Law Center, Children First, Philadelphia Community College of Philadelphia, Philadelphia Charters, here I'm playing the trombone, for Excellence, CASA, the School District of Philadelphia, the Education Law Center, First Up, and 32 BJ SCIU and Esperanza. This is the coalition, Philadelphia, that has united to advocate for our young people. It's been a long fight. Dan, thank you for giving us the historic overview. 10-year legal battle that resulted in that Commonwealth Court ruling. Donna, I don't know if you triggered me with some post-traumatic stress disorder just now, but you reminded me about those days, and out Philadelphia, I don't profess to know it all. I wasn't there that long enough to find my way to the bathroom 10 years, and I know it's tough when our legislative leaders get to the table in a bipartisan way, having to work with the executive branch, and they're spending every waking moment trying to reach much-needed compromise. The message from the city of Philadelphia to Harrisburg on today is that we are united. We are united in our ask. We've been very specific in outlining what the ask is, and our ask affirms that children come first in the city of Philadelphia. And now I want to take some questions from the press. I do want to preface it by saying that we will not allow this moment to be muddied. Did you all hear me? We will not allow this moment to be muddied about questions other than what we have sought out here on today. Now, with that, we'll take questions. Oh, yes, ma'am? She's trying to put me in a therapy session in front of the entire city of Philadelphia. The first meeting that Council President Kenyatta Johnson and I had in his office, when we started our regular weekly meetings, the issue on the table was public education. The governor had given his budget address, and we were getting ready to get prepared for our advocacy. And the both of us said, we've got to bring everybody together. Now, when we said it, I can remember some conversations with some, won't name them, we'll just call them external stakeholders, who told us that this wasn't going to work. They said this wasn't possible, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Watlington. They said the charters and the public school advocates, the your PFT, Charter School Coalition, that's never going to happen. And you just, can't get bogged down with the noise, right? And you just have to keep hammering away. And after we had that first meeting that Donna referenced in February, I was not there. This sort of collaboration, this is all of our stakeholders coming together saying, look, all of our differences, put them aside. That's not what we're here for. What do we need to unify around? Because, again, I'm intentional about asking Donna to speak here on the day. Out of everyone who was here, Donna's the only one who's been at the table on the executive branch. And she knows what it's like when you can't just do it with Democrats. That's why you heard Dan and you heard her mention bipartisanship. Philadelphia, your mayor, Sherelle Parker, has just affirmed that we need Republican leadership and Republican members in Harrisburg to support this educational plan that we are trying to get advanced in Harrisburg. I said it. I said it out loud. Right? So we know our Democratic leaders, and you heard us mention them, Speaker McClinton, Chairman Harris, Chairman Hughes, and all of our leaders. They're doing what they can to get to the table to hammer out what will be the final deal. You ask me how I feel good today that while our leaders are at the table, we've empowered them with their negotiating tool. It's not just what they're saying, but even when they're at the table, people know that they're not standing alone. And I'm super excited about that. I'm trying to contain that. So, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Um, 10 years, only long enough to find my way to the bathroom. I'm telling you the truth. I still get lost when I go there today. If there is one thing I know, is that I will not attempt to affirm when. If Chairman, my Harrisburg mentor, Chairman Dwight Evans, if he were here, he will say it is going to get done when it becomes soup. Right now, it's not soup. And that is you'll have to see. There are going to be some things that will come and you figure out how to ensure that it's ready and you can get the support, the votes that you need in order to get it done. And so our job was to make sure our leaders had what they needed at the table. When is it going to happen? That part we don't know, but I know one thing, it's coming. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, and then we'll come to you. Yes. Yes. We are proudly standing here today to advocate for the $1.4 billion inadequacy gap funding over 7 years. That's appropriate. It's an additional $242 million in adequacy and fair funding formula dollars for the 24-25 fiscal year as recommended by the Basic Ed Funding Commission. Yes, sir. We are here today to advocate for the $1.4 billion in public education funding, adequacy gap funding that you've heard us talk about, $242 million. So I am super excited about that. And listen, I'm unapologetic about affirming that although we're here and we're united, we are not at the table negotiating the state budget. Again, Donna Cooper's been at the table. It doesn't behoove us or help our state legislative delegation for us to talk about what we will or won't be doing right now. They need to go to the table with everything they need to hammer out the best compromise they possibly can on behalf of our students. That's why we are laser focused on what our goal is here today, and we shall not be moved. Actually, we won't be moved in this press conference. Okay, I'm sorry, sir. Yes, I'm sorry, to the left. Yes. Oh, my favorite color, the orange. Oh, you all right? Thank you all so much. Thank you. Can we all get together, please, for a photo? Can we get together for a photo, please?
I'm good. Can we see? How many behind we got?